Focus on you until you win. Repeat that until it burns itself into your mind. Focus on you because no one else will. The world is not built to save you. It is built to test you. And if you fail that test, if you hesitate, if you waste your years chasing comfort, you will not just lose, you will be consumed. Understand this. Life is war. It always has been, always will be. Civilization hides it, but never erases it. Every man, whether he admits it or not, is caught in a silent war of domination. Some play the role of hunter, others settle for the role of hunted. The question is, which role do you choose? You see, weakness is not forgiven, it is punished. The world does not pity those who fall behind, it feasts on them. Every smile hides an agenda, every hand extended may carry a dagger. To move through life as if everyone has your best interest is not kindness, it is suicide. This is why you must focus on yourself first. Sharpen your edges until you become untouchable. Forge your mind into iron. Control your emotions like a master tamer controls a beast. Build your power in silence, because when the time comes to strike, no one will see it coming. The man who wins is not the loudest. He is not the one begging for validation. He is the one who knows himself so deeply that he cannot be broken, manipulated, or swayed. That is how you become dangerous. That is how you rise above the masses. Remember, every empire that ever existed was built on a single principle: domination. Either dominate or be dominated. It's not morality, it's not fairness, it's not justice, it's survival. To live as if the world will reward your goodness is to remain a pawn on someone else's chessboard. Machiavelli himself said it best: the one who controls fear and respect controls the throne. So where do you stand? Do you bow your head and wait for permission, or do you claim your rightful place among the few who rule themselves and, by extension, rule others? The path is not easy. It requires sacrifice. It requires ruthlessness toward distraction, discipline toward growth, and an indifference to the opinions of lesser men. But once you lock in, once you decide that you will bend reality in your favor, the game changes forever. Focus on you until you win. When you do, they will call you cold, they will call you ruthless, they will call you heartless. Let them. Their words are the noise of the defeated. Your silence will be the roar of victory. So I ask you, what are you? Predator or prey? Hunter or hunted? Ruler or ruled? Part 2. The Law of Power. Power. The word makes people uncomfortable. The weak whisper it like it's forbidden. The strong embrace it like it's oxygen. Understand this. Power is not just strength. It is not just money. It is not just status. Power is control. Control over yourself, control over your environment, and when necessary, control over others. The law of power is simple. If you do not shape the world will shape you. If you do not impose your will, someone else will impose theirs on you. Nature has no middle ground. That is why power must be your obsession. Not fame, not comfort, not fleeting pleasures, but power. Because power is the root currency of existence. With power, you bend reality. Without it, you are bent. Machiavelli taught us that men are not moved by morality. They are moved by necessity. They are moved by fear. They are moved by advantage. Strip away the illusions and you will see it. Every handshake is a negotiation. Every friendship is an exchange of value. Every loyalty is conditional. The man who ignores this truth is forever at the mercy of others. But the man who embraces it, who studies it, who masters it, becomes untouchable. Power begins with mastery of self. If you cannot command yourself, you cannot command anything. The majority are slaves, not to chains, but to impulses. They are ruled by fear, by lust, by envy, by doubt. They cannot resist distraction, cannot discipline their time, cannot silence the voice of weakness inside their own minds. How can such men ever hope to rule anything beyond themselves? Control yourself first. your emotions, your habits, your desires. Until your will is unbreakable, you are not free. You are shackled. A man without self-control is nothing more than a puppet, dancing for the world's amusement. Once you master yourself, extend that mastery outward. Learn to read people as if they were open books. See the cracks in their armor, the hunger in their eyes, the insecurities they try to hide. Power is not about fighting everyone. It is about knowing exactly where to strike and when. Understand, people are predictable. Their fears drive them more than their dreams. Appeal to their desires and they follow. Exploit their fears and they obey. This is not cruelty, it is realism. And those who refuse to accept it will forever be victims of it. But hear me clearly, power does not mean chaos. Power demands discipline. Reckless men destroy themselves. Controlled men build dynasties. Be cold when needed, warm when useful, but always calculating. Do not act from emotion, act from strategy. Each move must serve the greater plan, your ascension. You will be hated for this. The powerless will call you manipulative. The weak will call you heartless. The defeated will call you dangerous. And they will be right, because a man who understands the law of power is dangerous. He cannot be controlled, he cannot be bought, he cannot be broken. And in a world where most men surrender before the fight even begins, that kind of man is a god among mortals. So remember this law. Power first, everything else second. Build yourself into a fortress. Build your mind into a weapon. Build your presence into a storm that commands respect before you even speak. The day you do, the world will change. Not because the world has become kinder, but because you have become untouchable. Now I ask you, do you want to remain one of the sheep, or are you ready to claim the throne meant for predators? If you're serious, drop this in the comments right now. Power is my birthright, because if you don't claim it, someone else will claim it over you. This is the law of power, and it does not forgive weakness. Part 3, the strategy of silence and shadow. The strongest weapon in your arsenal is not your voice, it is your silence. The most dangerous men in history never revealed everything. They moved like shadows, unpredictable, unreadable, untouchable. They let others talk, expose, reveal. They listened, observed, calculated, and then struck with precision. Understand this. When you speak too much, you give away your power. Every opinion, every emotion, every careless word is a thread someone else can pull. But when you master silence, when you cultivate mystery, you become impossible to control. The world fears what it cannot read. The world respects what it cannot predict. This is the strategy of silence and shadow. Machiavelli himself warned, a ruler must not always reveal his true intentions. To expose your entire hand is to hand over your throne. Instead, you must cloak your strategy. Use silence as armor. Use unpredictability as your sword. Watch people. Let them think they know you. Let them underestimate you. Let them grow comfortable. And when they reveal their weaknesses, strike. The average man seeks validation. He cannot resist broadcasting his every thought, his every goal, his every feeling. He talks, he brags, he overshares, and in doing so, he bleeds. He leaks power through his tongue. And the world takes advantage. But the man who is silent, he draws attention without asking for it. He builds curiosity without begging for it. He commands respect without demanding it, because silence forces others to fill in the blanks. And their imagination will make you greater, darker, stronger than you even are. Silence is not weakness, it is strategy. Shadow is not fear, it is positioning. You don't win by telling the world your moves, you win by hiding them until it's too late for anyone to stop you. In war, the enemy who cannot read your next strike lives in constant anxiety. In life, the man who reveals nothing forces others to tread lightly around him. Mystery is power. Shadow is influence. So, how do you wield this? Say less than necessary. Every conversation, every debate, every conflict, let the other man overexpose himself. Learn to pause. A moment of silence can break another man's confidence more than 1,000 words. Reveal selectively. When you do speak, let your words cut like blades. Sharp, minimal, unforgettable. Move quietly, build in silence, win in silence, appear only when the victory is undeniable. The shadow strategy is not about hiding forever. It is about timing. Appear only when the moment serves you. Disappear when presence adds no value. Leave people wondering, guessing, obsessing. The most feared warriors are not the ones who roar. They are the ones who stare into you with calm indifference, saying nothing, revealing nothing. That silence creates pressure. That silence builds dominance. When people don't know what you're thinking, they fear what you might do. That fear is leverage. That leverage is control. So master this law. Say little, move quietly, strike hard. That is how kings rise. That is how empires expand. That is how legacies are built. Because in a world of noise, the man who controls silence controls power. And the one who walks in shadow decides who stands in the light. This is how you become untouchable. Part 4. The ruthlessness of discipline. Power without discipline is self-destruction. Ambition without order is chaos. A man who cannot command himself has no right to command anything. This is where most men fail. They dream of victory, they fantasize about power, they speak endlessly about greatness, but they crumble at the first test of discipline. They cannot wake when they must. They cannot resist temptations. They cannot stay focused when distraction whispers in their ear. And so, they remain slaves, not to another man, but to themselves. Understand this. Discipline is not a choice. Discipline is survival. A man without discipline is like a sword left to rust, once sharp, now worthless. But a man who sharpens himself daily, who cuts away weakness with ruthless consistency, becomes a weapon of destiny. Discipline is cold. It does not care how you feel. It does not bend to mood. It demands you act, regardless of desire. That is why the weak despise it, because it requires them to kill the child within and forge the man without. Listen carefully. Your habits will decide your throne or your grave. Every wasted hour, every indulgence, every excuse, these are betrayals you commit against yourself. Do not blame the world for your failure if you cannot even command your own time. The ruthless man knows this truth. The world bends not to wishes, but to action. And action, sustained, becomes destiny. Discipline is not glamorous, it is not entertaining, it is cold, repetitive, relentless, but it is the foundation of all empires. You want respect? Be disciplined. You want wealth? Be disciplined. You want power? Be disciplined. Without it, you will be outworked, outmaneuvered, and outlasted by men who chose to suffer where you chose comfort. Understand this dark law. The world rewards the man who suffers with purpose and punishes the man who avoids pain. Pain is currency. Discipline is the way you invest it, and those who invest daily, without fail, eventually buy freedom. Look at your life. Where are you undisciplined? Where do you let weakness dictate your decisions? Every time you indulge in comfort, every time you choose laziness, every time you surrender to distraction, you sell pieces of your empire for scraps of pleasure. And for what? For temporary relief? For validation from those who don't matter? The Machiavellian man cuts these impulses without mercy. He knows that to build anything lasting, he must first destroy his own weakness. Ruthlessness is required, not just against the outside world, but against yourself. When laziness whispers, crush it. When excuses arise, silence them. When weakness tries to crawl back, execute it without hesitation. This is not cruelty, it is clarity, because every second wasted is fuel for your rivals. and they will not hesitate to dominate you if you fail to dominate yourself. So ask yourself, are you the master of your day or the slave of your excuses? The ruler within you waits to be born, but he demands blood, your old habits, your old distractions, your old identity. Discipline is that executioner. Remember this, men who cannot control themselves are ruled by men who can. Be ruthless, be relentless, be disciplined until it carves you into something unrecognizable. And when the world sees the results, when they witness your transformation, they will not understand how you did it, but you will. Because discipline is not just a habit, it is a weapon, it is a crown, it is the path to domination. Because the man with ruthless discipline cannot be stopped. He does not need permission. He does not need motivation. He does not need luck. He only needs himself. And that is enough. Part 5. Fear, respect, and control. There are only two forces that make men obey: fear and respect. Everything else is weakness disguised as morality. You must decide, do you want to be liked or do you want to be respected? Do you want applause or do you want obedience? The two are not the same. The man who seeks to be loved will always kneel. The man who commands fear and respect will always rise. Understand this, people are selfish. They move only when it benefits them. They are loyal only when it suits them. Their admiration is shallow, their promises fragile, but fear and respect, these are foundations carved from stone. Fear creates boundaries. Respect builds loyalty. Together, they form control. And control is the essence of power. Machiavelli was clear, it is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Why? Because love is conditional. Fear endures. Love can vanish in a moment. Fear does not. But hear me well. Fear without respect is unstable. A man who rules through fear alone invites rebellion. But a man who blends fear with respect becomes untouchable. His enemies hesitate, his allies stay loyal, his presence commands silence. So how do you create this balance? Establish boundaries quickly. The first time someone disrespects you, set the line. The second time, enforce it. The third time should never exist. Weakness tolerated becomes weakness repeated. Be unpredictable in punishment. Never let others know exactly how you will respond. Uncertainty is pressure. Pressure is control. Show competence. Respect is not given, it is earned. Master your craft. Prove your value. Demonstrate discipline. Competence forces admiration, even from enemies. Withhold approval. When everyone begs for validation, the man who rarely gives it becomes a king. People will chase your respect like starving dogs chase meat. Fear makes them cautious. Respect makes them loyal. Together, they create obedience. And obedience means control. The weak man tries to be liked. He bends, he pleads, he chases, and in doing so, he loses everything. But the strong man, he stands indifferent. He does not beg for love. He does not need to be liked. His presence alone commands attention. His silence commands fear. His achievements command respect. This is not cruelty. This is reality. The world will either kneel before your strength or it will trample your weakness. Choose which side you want to stand on. Do not confuse popularity with power. Do not confuse followers with influence. A man can have the world's applause, yet be powerless in his own life. But a man with fear and respect surrounding him is a fortress no enemy dares attack. Ask yourself now, do people obey you because they want to, or because they must? Do they respect you when you're gone, or only when you're useful? Comment this if you understand. I choose respect over love, fear over weakness. Because in the end, control belongs not to the loved, but to the feared and respected, and control is the throne every true ruler sits upon. Part 6. The Art of Psychological Warfare. Every battle is fought twice, first in the mind, then in the world. If you win the mind, the body follows. This is the art of psychological warfare. Understand this: force is costly, violence leaves scars, but control of the mind, that is clean, efficient, and permanent. A man whose mind you control is no longer your opponent, he becomes your instrument. Psychological warfare begins with perception. Appear stronger than you are. Appear more ruthless than you are. Appear untouchable, even when you bleed. Because perception creates belief, and belief creates reality. If they believe you are undefeatable, they will not fight. You win without lifting a finger. But you must go deeper. Learn to plant doubt. Doubt erodes confidence faster than any weapon. A whisper here, a silence there, a carefully chosen phrase. It does not take much. Once a man begins questioning himself, he is finished. His own mind becomes your ally. Control the frame. Whoever sets the frame of reality controls the outcome. Do not argue within another man's narrative. Force him into yours. If he thinks small, speak larger. If he tries to provoke, remain calm. If he attacks emotionally, respond with cold logic. The one who controls the frame controls the fight. Remember this: intimidation is not about volume, it's about presence. The calm stare, the deliberate pause, the silence that weighs heavier than words. These break men faster than shouting ever will. Psychological warfare also requires unpredictability. Do not allow others to map your behavior. Keep them uncertain. Uncertainty breeds hesitation. Hesitation breeds defeat. A man who cannot predict you cannot control you. Use scarcity. When you are always available, your value drops. When you withdraw, when you vanish, when you choose when to appear, you train the world to see you as rare and therefore powerful. Scarcity builds desire. Scarcity builds fear of loss. Scarcity builds control. Remember, not every battle is fought with fists or weapons. The greatest wars are fought in silence, in glances, in the spaces between words. The strongest chains are invisible. And here's the truth few dare to admit. Most men are already defeated before the fight begins. Their doubt, their lack of discipline, their craving for validation, they are walking weaknesses waiting to be exploited. All it takes is one well-placed seed in their mind, and they will destroy themselves on your behalf. But do not mistake this for cruelty. It is strategy. In a world where men are constantly trying to manipulate you, you either play the game or become the game, and I refuse to let you be the prey. This is why I tell you, master psychological warfare, read people, control perception, plant doubt, command the frame, be unpredictable, be scarce, and most of all, strike first in the mind. Because once the mind falls, the body cannot resist. Because the man who conquers minds never has to fear defeat. He has already won. Part 7. The Fortress of Emotional Control. A man who cannot master his emotions will never master his destiny. He will always be a puppet, pulled by anger, seduced by desire, broken by fear. But the man who builds a fortress around his emotions, he becomes untouchable. Understand this. Your enemies don't need to outthink you if they can out-emotion you. They only need to provoke you, make you angry, make you desperate, make you reckless. The moment you lose control, they win. Machiavelli understood this well. Appear moved when useful, but remain cold inside. Emotion is a mask, not a master. Show it when it benefits you. Hide it when it weakens you. Think about the men who have fallen, leaders, warriors, rulers. They were not destroyed by lack of skill, but by lack of control. A careless outburst, a rash decision, a moment of weakness, and their enemies struck. 1 second of lost control can erase years of power, so you must become different. You must become calm where others rage, still where others panic, silent where others scream. Picture a storm crashing around you, lightning striking, winds tearing everything apart. The weak man is thrown around like a leaf, but the strong man, the Machiavellian man, stands like stone. His calmness itself becomes terrifying. because nothing is more unsettling than a man who does not break when he should. This is the fortress of emotional control. Build it brick by brick. Anger. Do not let it rule you. Anger makes men predictable. Instead, channel it into precision, into action, into discipline. Fear. Fear paralyzes most, but fear, controlled, sharpens the mind. Let fear be a signal, not a master. Desire. Lust, greed, vanity. These have toppled empires. Master them, or they will master you. Ego. The deadliest emotion of all, the need to prove yourself, is the leash your enemies will use to control you. Silence your ego, and you silence their weapon. Control is not suppression. It is redirection. Feel emotion, but never let it drive. You hold the reins. You decide the outcome. Do not mistake coldness for emptiness. A controlled man is not lifeless, he is powerful, because he can choose when to unleash fire and when to remain ice. His anger, his passion, his drive, all deployed with precision, never wasted in chaos. This is why emotional control is feared, because once you achieve it, you cannot be manipulated. Insults won't shake you, threats won't move you, flattery won't sway you. You become untouchable, because nothing outside you holds the key to your reactions. And once you are untouchable, you hold the power, because the man who controls himself controls every interaction, every negotiation, every confrontation. Remember, kings are overthrown, generals defeated, empires burned, all because of unchecked emotion. Do not make that mistake. Be the fortress. Be the calm in the chaos. Be the one who cannot be broken. Because the man who builds a fortress of emotional control does not just survive, he dominates. Part 8. The power of ruthless adaptation. Rigidity is death. The man who refuses to adapt will be crushed by the tide of change. But the man who bends, who shifts, who evolves with ruthless precision, he survives, he conquers, he dominates. Understand this. The world is not static. Power moves. Alliances change. Opportunities vanish as quickly as they appear. The weak man clings to the past, prays for stability, and complains when the ground beneath him shifts. But the Machiavellian man, he thrives in chaos. He studies it, he bends it, he weaponizes it. Adaptation is not compromise, it is control. You do not bend because you are weak. You bend because you are calculating. You shift not out of fear, but out of strategy. The lion that cannot hunt new prey starves. The ruler who cannot adjust to new enemies falls. The man who clings to one way of thinking, one way of acting, one way of living, dies. Look at history. Every empire that believed itself eternal collapsed. Rome, Persia, Egypt. Giants reduced to dust because they refused to adapt. The conqueror becomes the conquered when he mistakes strength for permanence. You must become the opposite. You must be water, taking the shape of whatever container you enter, but never losing your essence. You must be a shadow, unpredictable, ungraspable, everywhere and nowhere at once. Adaptation requires two weapons: awareness and ruthlessness. Awareness. See the shifts before they happen. Read people, read trends, read the game itself. Most men live blind, reacting when it is already too late. You must see 3 moves ahead. You must notice the cracks before the collapse. Ruthlessness. Once you see the shift, act without hesitation. Cut ties when needed. Abandon strategies that no longer serve you. Burn bridges if they weigh you down. The world punishes hesitation. The man who adapts slowly adapts too late. This is not betrayal, it is survival. The snake that sheds its skin does not mourn the old one, it simply outgrows it. So too must you outgrow identities, roles, and even relationships that no longer serve your throne. Adaptation also demands that you master multiple masks. To one man, you are fire. To another, you are ice. To one group, you are ally. To another, you are threat. Never let anyone box you in. Never let anyone define you. You must be many things to many people while always remaining true to one thing, your rise. The world will call you ruthless. They will call you heartless. They will call you disloyal. Let them. Those are the words of men who drowned while clinging to their illusions. You will not drown. You will ride the waves. Adaptation does not mean weakness. It means survival. It means dominance. It means ensuring that no matter what comes, you remain standing when others fall. Remember this. The oak tree snaps in the storm. The reed bends and survives. Be the reed that survives and the axe that strikes when the storm clears. Because the man who adapts without mercy cannot be stopped. He becomes a force of nature, and no one conquers nature. Part 9. The isolation of the elite. Greatness is lonely. Understand this truth before you even begin your climb. The higher you rise, the fewer people will stand beside you, not because you hate them, but because they cannot follow. They will not endure the sacrifice. They will not understand the silence. They will not bear the weight of discipline. This is the isolation of the elite. Machiavelli knew this well. A ruler cannot live like the ruled. He must separate himself, elevate himself, distance himself, not because he is above them by birth, but because his destiny demands it. The masses crave comfort, distraction, entertainment. The elite crave power, mastery, dominance. The two paths cannot merge. If you wish to be among the few, you must break away from the many. Isolation is not weakness, it is sharpening. When you strip away the noise, you hear your own voice. When you cut off the parasites, you feel your own strength. When you walk alone, you see the world as it is, not as the herd wants it to be. But make no mistake, this path is brutal. The friends you thought would support you, they will resent you. The family that said they wanted your success, they will not understand you. The lovers who promised to stand by your side, they will fall away when the fire of your ambition burns too hot. Do not hate them for it. Do not waste time mourning it. They are not built for the life you are choosing. And that is the point. You are not them. You are becoming something they cannot comprehend. Isolation teaches you self-reliance. It forces you to face yourself, your fears, your weaknesses, your truths. Most men avoid this because it terrifies them. But you must embrace it. Because once you conquer yourself in solitude, no man alive can conquer you in the world. The elite operate differently. While the masses scream for attention, the elite move in silence. While the masses beg for acceptance, the elite build thrones. While the masses drown in comfort, the elite sharpen their claws in solitude. And when the elite finally emerge from isolation, they return transformed, stronger, colder, sharper, untouchable. Do not confuse this with permanent loneliness. No man builds an empire entirely alone, but the early stages demand separation. The climb demands silence. You will attract new allies, new networks, new loyalists, but only once you've proven you can stand without them. Isolation is the crucible. It burns away the unnecessary. It exposes the truth. It leaves only the strong standing. And that strength is what places you among the few, while the many remain below, watching, envying, resenting. So ask yourself, do you have the strength to stand alone while others cling to each other in weakness? Do you have the courage to embrace silence while others drown in noise? Because in the end, the path to power is not crowded. It is a narrow road, walked by the few, feared by the many. And if you endure it, you will never walk as one of them again. Part 10. The final command. Dominate or be dominated. This is the truth you cannot run from. You will either dominate or you will be dominated. There is no middle ground. There is no safety net. There is no neutral position in the hierarchy of life. Every man you meet is either climbing, falling, or being crushed beneath the weight of someone else's will? Which one are you? The weak pretend life is fair. They pretend everyone can win. They cling to fantasies of equality. But reality is brutal. There are rulers and there are ruled. There are lions and there are lambs. There are those who command and those who obey. And if you refuse to choose, life will choose for you, and you will not like the result. Domination does not always mean thrones and empires. It means control. Control over yourself. Control over your direction. Control over the space around you. It means refusing to bend your knee to weakness, distraction, or the demands of lesser men. Dominate yourself first. Without that, you are nothing. Master your body, master your habits, master your impulses. Become the one man in the room who cannot be manipulated, tempted, or swayed. When you control yourself, you already dominate most of the world, because most men cannot. Then dominate your environment. Shape it to serve your mission. Remove anything and anyone that pulls you backward. Do not hesitate. Do not explain. Do not beg. A king does not justify his rule. He enforces it. And when necessary, dominate others. Not with cruelty, but with clarity. People crave direction. They crave order. They crave strength. If you do not lead, they will follow someone else. Why should that someone not be you? Machiavelli wrote that men are driven by fear and self-interest. Learn this truth, accept it, use it, inspire loyalty through strength, inspire caution through presence, be generous when it strengthens your throne, be ruthless when it protects it, and never, never let mercy blind you to the reality of power. Dominate with strategy, not emotion, not recklessness, cold calculation. Every move should advance your mission. Every word should carry weight. Every silence should create pressure. You are not here to entertain. You are here to reign. And those who will not accept your rise, let them fall. Those who doubt you, let them watch. Those who resist you, crush them with results so undeniable that their resistance turns into silence. Because domination is not loud. It is not desperate. It is not begging for recognition. Domination is quiet, patient, inevitable. It is the mountain that does not move, the storm that cannot be stopped, the presence that cannot be ignored. You must engrave this law into your soul. The world is not built for fairness. It is built for conquest. And if you are not the conqueror, you are the conquered. So which will you choose? Comment this right now if you understand. I refuse to be dominated. I will dominate. Say it with conviction. Write it as a declaration, because once you accept this truth, your life will no longer be the same. Dominate your habits, dominate your emotions, dominate your enemies, dominate your world. Because only then will you earn the right to stand among the elite. Only then will you be untouchable. This is your final command. Dominate or be dominated. Because the war does not end here. This is only the beginning. Now go. Focus on you until you win, and do not stop until the world knows your name.